He will discuss the impact of Pakistani tea market on smallholder tea farmers in Kenya. A very warm welcome, sir.
The chairman, Pakistan Tea Association, Mr. Jawaid Palacha, Chairman Tea Convention Committee, Mohammed Janu, who is also an honorable consulate for Kenya, Chairman Tapal Tea Private Limited, Mr. Aftab Tapal, government officials, diplomatic staff, Chairman of Uganda Tea Associations, directors here present, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is David Ichoho. I'm the chairman, KTDA. And with me, I came with the delegation from Kenya, so I'll request the delegation from Kenya to be upstanding. Thus, you can clap for them. Those are delegations from Kenya, composed of directors, management of KTDA, and diplomatic staff. Thank you very much. Hamjambo. In our country, you say hamjambo, you say sijambo. Hamjambo. Yeah, we bring goodwill and greetings from the people and farmers from Kenya. And with me, my delegation is actually to explain to you the various experiences we had in Kenya, given that Kenya is a greater player in the arena of tea production. We are actually number 3 highest tea producer after India and China. And we are the leading exporter in the world in terms of tea export. Today also is an important day to us because it has been designated today, 21st May of 2022, is our International Tea Day, according to the UN calendar. We can clap for the day. According to the United Nations, the goal of this day is actually to promote and foster collective action to implement activities in favor of sustainable production and consumption of tea and raise awareness of its production in fighting hunger and poverty. So as we celebrate this day here for Pakistan Tea Association, it's also important that we recognize the day has been recognized globally in terms of its importance. I'll make a presentation regarding our tea sector under the title of Impact of Pakistan Tea Market to the Small-Scale Tea Farmers in Kenya. I'll start from there. The structure of my presentation will involve the industry structure, the smallholder subsector, the KTDA performance, KTDA management tea factories performance, tea trade with Pakistan, revenue earned by the small tea farmers, sustainable tea business, small-scale holders, and intervention under the reform agenda, which we commenced last year. The organization of the industry is that the tea industry, we have the Minister of Agriculture, which is in charge of policy. We have Tea Board of Kenya, which regulates the industry. They also do the marketing and promotion of our teas in our markets. We have Kenya Agricultural Livestock and Research Organization, the tea research, where they undertake the research of the tea plant in terms of production and all other affected issues. We have small tea, the production sector, there we have KTDA, actually is the largest producer, producing about 60% of tea. The other ones coming from plantation. We also have Neo Tea Zone, and we have independent producers who are private owners. We also have a player of East Africa Trade Association, which is a composition. They are actually the one who are in charge of the auction. They are involving the producers, the brokers, the warehousemen. We have buyers and packers, and also the logisticians. That's the map of Kenya, and as you can see, tea is grown within the Central Highlands, where you have greens. That's where you grow tea. We are neighboring the country of Somalia here. We have Ethiopia. We have Southern Sudan here. we have Uganda, our Tanzania. We are lie across the line of equator, which means our temperature is always medium, and that's why we are able to continue having a continuous production of crop across the country. We have about 10% of Kenyans relying. This is about Kenya has a population of about 53 million, according to the statistics of 2020. About 10 to 12% of Kenya, who about 6.5 million, rely on tea directly. We have 650,000 farmers who are involved in Kenya KTDA. The sector also contributes to 2.4% of our gross domestic product. And here I can also add that apart from this, it's a great foreign exchange earner, giving us about 26.3% of every dollar in the country is coming from the TIC sector. We have employed directly about 10,000 staff within our 70,000 factories across the region. And also, there are a lot of thousands and million people who are involved within the sector as a secondary, as indirect employees coming across the globe in terms of where our teas are processed logistically at the auction and all that, including our farmers. There are thousands of farmers who are involved in the tea plucking. So it plays an important role in terms of development. It has promoted infrastructure and growth, and I can say this agriculture where we have industrialization, because we plant our teas, sell it to the factories, process it into a product, which can there be sold to provide cash. About 60% of our national tea is coming from KTDA, and after the KTDA, our 650,000 farmers, 60% of the tea is coming through KTDA, and the others, we have the independents and also the plantations like Unilever, East African Produce, and the like also produce the remaining balance in terms of our production. I've said it's the leading earner, and of course, this one competes with our diaspora, who also compete, and we exchange positions once in a while, depending on the production in each year. I can go back to the history of KTDA, our small-scale tea holder. And the first factory was started around the mountain of near Mount Kenya, called Lagati Factory, around 1957. And from 1957, then in 1960, the government developed what we call Special Crop Development Authority. It was in charge of many crops, not that just tea. Other crops like coffee and other were also taken care in terms of this. Remember, Kenya became independent in 1963. So this was the commencement of our nation, building of our nation, which started from this going ahead. In 1964, that's when we had Kenya Tea Development Authority established. It was a parastatal, and because the sector was growing, there was need to have a player which could be able to ensure there's production, the issue of processing, logistics, and marketing. It was done at a parastatal, which means that it was controlled by the government, and the staff who were working at that time were working within that authority. Then in 1999, that's about 35 years later, there was a need by agitation and the need for us to change to go in terms of private. Remember, this is around the time also we had the issues of IMF and reforms which were coming, and there was need for us to go into privatization. And it was recommended that we could have privatization. And in the year 2000, an act was established, and we formed Kenya Tea Development Agency, was established as a private limited company to take charge of the affairs of the small-scale farmers. In 2009, there was also need it was renamed to Kenya Tea Development Agency Holding Limited. And this company now had several other companies, like I will explain later. And then later, they also had to develop what they call agency, because there was need to separate management of the agency, because this agency was operating on behalf of the farmers. So the KTDA Development Agency was also established. And in 2021, I think we have moved, and then we have so many reforms coming in, and we're able to explain later. The organizational structure in terms of what we have, the farmer is a king in terms of our structure and our hierarchy. We have 650,000 farmers spread across around 20 counties out of 47 counties. And the farmers are the owners and the owners of the factories. So they buy shares of the factory, which is allocated equivalent to the amount of tea produce. And then we have holding. At the holding levels, and I'm here with 4 of the board members. Maybe you can start. Board members or KTDA who I came with. We have 4. I think there are 4. There's another one on the other end. Thank you very much. Those are among the board members that we have. The board is composed of 12 members, but I'll come to that. So within KTDA holding, we have 8 subsidiaries. KTDA operates under aggregations, and economists also talk about economies of scale. When you have economies of scale, you can be able to spread cost across and also take advantage of sharing the cost that cannot be done by a small farmer. One of it is KTDMS. This is the one who is in charge of the 70 factories, as in charge of production and taking care of production quality from the farm. Then the tea is delivered to the buying center, logistically delivered to the factories, the 70 factories. And then the tea is processed there according to the standard that you require, our stakeholders. And then the tea is shipped from the factories to Mombasa, which is where we have a port and where the tea is now shipped across. I must quickly mention that 95% of our tea is exported outside the country, and 5% of it only consumed within the country. So we are in international trade. So I did that MS, they are also in charge of marketing. They are also in charge of manufacturing and also issues of management. And they share this service across all the sector in terms of that. We have child trading. This is a logistic company. It's take the role of ensuring the tea are shipped from the factories across to the warehouses, take care of stock and ensure that the tea is shipped across the various destinations across the world. Other than that, they are also involved in trading. They are agents, and they are able to buy in the brokerage. So they are able to make order for the tea for some of you here and able to ship. We have Kenya Tea Packers. Kenya Tea Packers is our company in charge of it's called Katepa, but Kenya Tea Packers in short. In some of value addition and also packaging, they are able to sell the tea within the country, and they are also exporting. So if you want a tea which is packaged, you can bring your brand and package, and it will be shipped to your destination fully processed. We have Green Feather. We realize we are involved in terms of money transaction, and this one is a microfinance. It was established to ensure that we are able to get low-income credit to the farmers as we wait for us to be able to produce their tea and sell. We made a dramatic and important decision as a board when it came in. We brought down the interest rate from 24% to 8%. The essence of this is to ensure that farmers are able to access credit within affordable level. And this will be able to ensure we empower farmers and also reduce poverty amongst our people. The KTDA power, we have about 12 hydropower, small hydropowers. And this one are in charge of reducing cost. Cost of production is one of the issues and one of the key issues that we are working on. And we are supposed to produce power which is least costly so that we are able to be able to lower the cost for the factory cost. In addition to this, I think we will also be migration also in terms of using of solar power to be able to bring costs down. We have insurance brokers, The essence of forming this company was to ensure that we are able to insulate farmer against higher insurance premiums. So we are able to underwrite 2 billion shillings. 2 billion shillings is about $20 million. Within the group, and then we are able, 85% of that are insurance within our industry, for our factories, for our companies, vehicles and machinery, shipment and everything, including farmers' insurance. So 85% of it is for the internally, and 15% is able to be done outside the insurance company. And we are able to retain around 25% of that amount within the group, which is able to lower the cost for the farmer. The tea engineering and machinery company is called Temek in short. This is a company whereby we are able to, we came to understand them. This one we are able to import machines for repair, maintenance, and everything at lower cost, because we are able to negotiate with the suppliers and be able to get for the farmers at a lower, and it's able to mitigate the inflation of the hyper cost of the machinery when it's required. It's also important for the timely replacement of any machine which may break down. So that plays that role within the group. We have the KTDA Foundation, and we also participate in corporate social responsibility. And this one we do through supportive of within our ecosystem. We're able to help farmers educate the children. Nowadays, we are also diversifying them to be able to participate in diversification so that we can have more income as it will become clearer later. KTDA managed factory company performance. I had explained, I think I will also explain again, is that our composition is that at the backbone here is the farmers, and we said our farmer are 650,000. And our farmers, each farmer is a shareholder and a respective factory company. And the share is allotted based on the green leaf. And all farmers are also organized at the buying center. Within the community, we have small buying center where we bring our tea after they are produced. We have a committee of 5 who are elected. And then within our 54 listed factories, we are supposed to have directors. And each factory has about 6 directors. And these directors, in total, we have around now about 325 directors across our holding groups. I've mentioned it's 54 which are registered, but we have such satellite companies, factories. So in total, now it's around 70. But these are the ones recognized. You realize they're satellite and also that. And it is the factory, the 54 factories, which owns the holdings. So each, we have 12 zones, and I've said that we have 5 of the directors here from the zone. Along the entire ecosystem, we are able to elect 12 directors who come to the board. And I'm honored to be the chairman of the group. And now these 12 directors are the one who are in charge of the group I've explained a little bit there. This is a unique success model that empowers the farmer from the grassroots all the way. The farmers are able to, without any help, to buy the machineries and do all the financing and all the legal entity required to ensure that we are able to sustain the farmer. I want to come down to the production of the green leaf within our factories. In 2019, we produced 1.13 billion kilos of tea. In 2014, we produced 1.24 billion of tea. In 2015, we produced 1.039 billion kilograms of green leaf. On 2016, we had 1.233 billion kilograms of tea. 2017, there was slump to 977 million. 2018, we had 1.184 billion. 2019, there was small slump to 1.13 billion. In 2020, there was the last highest production, which was 1.454 billion. Last year, we produced 1.251 billion. This year, we project a slight increase above this figure, close to 1.3, but the last figure has not come in. The fluctuation of this is affected by several factors, among them the climate change, the rainfall, which affect the production within our factories. So when the weather is conducive, we tend to have bumper harvest. But you can see there is a consistent production. The 2021 was also affected by lack of fertilizer because of the COVID. So that could also have affected the slight decline. I want to now bring this curve of the distribution of our farmers. We have said that our farmers are small-scale farmers, and some of them own a small fraction of about 9% of our farmers own less than a quarter acre of land, and they produce 13%. Up to quota, they are producing 19%. These are farmers who have a quarter an acre of land. A quarter an acre to have an acre, 29%, and they produce around 41%. We have people with half an acre, half to 1 acre, they are 18%, producing around 24%. We have people with an acre to 1 hectare. 1 hectare is about 2.5 acres. And these are 7% producing around 18%. And those who have more than 2.5 acres are 1%, and they produce around 10%. Cumulatively, we can say that 2% of farmers own an acre and below in the area, and they produce around 18% of our produce. When you do this mathematics, these are about 208,000 farmers. 208,000 farmers producing 18% with this aspect. 73% own have an acre in area under the T, produce 47%. This one translated to around 485,000 farmers. Only 9% own more than 1 acre under the T, and the other one produce 28% of the total production. This graph is supposed to show and demonstrate that we have to use the aggregation to help the farmer who is earning, have a very small land, and also help the farmer who is on the top here. We had earlier mentioned we have 650,000 farmers across our production area, and that the population holding that area is about 6.5 million. I wanted to do a bit of computation in terms of income, which is going to the farmer. And out of our statistical data, the farmer who are within a quota that I have mentioned earlier there, a quarter an acre farmer produce about 875 kilograms of tea leaves. They get averagely, this one is ranging between 20 to 21 shillings that they're able to get immediately at the end of month. After delivering on that year, we are able to pay the farmers 21 shillings and others 20 shillings upfront by the 5th day of the next month. The other one, we pay what we call bonus at the end of time, and sometimes, so you realize that now bring about that 5. You had brought a sample of a farmer with an acre. The income will translate to around 62,000 in total, 62,000. Somebody with a 3/4 acre translate to around 93,000. Somebody with 1 acre will translate to 124,355. And when you go down there, their cost, the cost of production. And this is important when you're talking about reserve price, what buyers here call the floor price. The cost can go as much as 16,000. If you net this, you realize now, from this, and you net this, you realize the income has gone down. The same case with this, and the cost which you usually have, we have cost of plucking, there are cost of pruning, cost of tipping, cost of other things like including fertilizer, and other operational costs within the factory level. So there are high costs of also maintaining and producing tea. And now here you realize the cost can go as much as close to even 50%. That's one of the farmer. One of the things that we do is to ensure that we train our farmers in pruning and other husbandry, modern forms of plant husbandry, so that we can increase our produce. That's a farmer there already who is happy doing their work. Somebody has been trained. We want to do a bit of mechanization by pruning with our machinery. We're also thinking of how we can be able to prune our tea using a plucking machine without interfering with the quality. Now I come down there to the trade with Pakistan and Kenya and KTDA. I think this is a map of Pakistan, and I think we have a population of about 230 million. In Kenya, we are about 53 million. And we can see here the Kenya, Pakistan adding the tariff issue, where they were removing the attestation moving forward. I want to say that Pakistan is our largest consumer of tea, as the data will show. And every 2 kilos which is produced in Kenya, 1 kilo is consumed in Pakistan. Let's clap for the people of Pakistan. So we have that good relation where they are able to consume the largest. I think if you do the average, it's close to one person taking a kilo of tea annually. And ideally, Kenya is also now the largest exporter, and that's where our friendship begins. This is the data in terms of countries that we are selling to. And Pakistan, there's an aggregation in terms of several years. And Pakistan, averagely, they consume 127, and they consume 50.2%. Egypt, that is 2,744,000, consuming 12%. We can see the United Kingdom, 18,435,000, 7.3%. Afghanistan, 3.8%. Sudan, 3.5%. We have Russia, 3.3%. Kazakhstan, 2.7%. Poland, 2.1%. Iran, this is an area that we can even consume more apart from the sanctions and the issue of forex issues that has hampered that, and we hope a solution will be found in the near future. Others consume about 8%. So we can collectively say, based on the data, that Pakistan is our major consumer of our tea. And then we have the data, this is the same data I was talking about, the kind of tea which has been consumed annually by Pakistan. And they buy KTDA tea. They also buy other teas from our plantation and independent producer. And in 2016, they consumed about 141.5 million. In 2017, KTDA brought 97 and 41 from others. We brought around 108.5 million kilos. 2018, 151. As you can see across, KTDA reigned supreme. And one of the reasons why they love Kenyan KTDA tea is that quality is a major concern, and we ensure. I want to say also that the highest quality of our tea is also consumed in Pakistan. So we can also clap again for them for that. Quality is important. In 2019, they consumed 130 million, and from other partners, they bought 46, 176, 186 here, and 150. In terms of money, it's better to compute its money. KTDA in year 2020 was able to get 400 million US dollars from that trade. This is significant in terms of this money going back to the farmer that I talked about. In total, they almost brought 496.8 million US dollars. And in total, it's 585 from other countries. So Kenya continues to produce the majority of the tea coming to this. The Pakistan is therefore important to know that the Pakistan imports average about 75% of its tea from Kenya, with close to 80% being from KTDA. In terms of value, this has grown to more than USD 400 million US dollars to the small-scale farmer. How does this transform in terms of small-scale tea farmer? And I wanted to bring this. This is important to our members because to us, because this is prices that we have been able to get across the years. These prices are in terms of dollars per kilo. And we were able to, in 2013, we were selling our tea at $3.26 per kilo. 2014 came down to 2.43. 2015 to 2.6. 2016 was 3.01. In 2017, it was 3.13. 2018, it was 3.14. 2019, 22.59. 2020 came down to 2.38. By last year, it has come down all the way to, it was coming down to this 2.8. The last 3 years saw the prices of tea drop from average of 3.14 to a low of 2.18 last financial year, leading to a decision by farmers for us to take action to ensure that we restore. I want to tell the delegates here that a farmer reached a point whereby he had to make a choice between, there's something what economists call economies of scale. You can plant coffee, you can plant cabbages, you can plant you can keep animals. So the opportunity cost was becoming very high for the farmer to approve the tea and be able to do that. And that we found that it's not sustainable. So when we came board with the board and the government, it was consultation. We found it's necessary to have a minimum return, which we agree that when we put around that $2.43 per kilo, we could be able to sustain the farmer in production. And also you can see we're also trying to allow the farmer to diversify in other areas of productivity so that they can increase income. So that 2.43, I know sometimes because of fluctuation of the dollars and that, there's always agitation to bring it down. Our hope is it should be high as we continue, but we are not going to change this. We will remain there. That is the minimum that we are able to bear, below which you will not be able to get tea from us, and I think that becomes now the challenge. So it's better to have a framework whereby we can be able to sustain the farmer in productivity. And you have seen that those are about 6 million people, 6.5 million people are a great number of humanity. To ensure they are able to take their children to school, they are able to take medicine, they are able to, and most of us you see here, we are educated by tea. So as the community grew, and also we had extreme poverty amongst our people. That now brings down, these are how much amount of money which is have been going back to the farmer. And the total payment for 2013 was about 51.3 billion shillings, which went to the farmer. In 2014, there was slump, it was 35.5 billion. 2015 was 43.25 billion. In 2016 at 61.91 billion. 2017 we brought in at 57.4 billion. In 2018 was 62.35 billion. 2019 was 46.45 billion. 2020 was 51.84 billion. 2021 was 44.3 billion. This year we expect to bring a little bit more. I wanted to show the KTDA framework of working, how much reaches the farmer. When you do this business, you undertake when you produce, you remove the cost, and the amount of revenue balance is going back to the farmer. In 2013, 75% of the revenue coming was able to go back to the farmer. In 2014, I think it was the lowest it was lower at 67%. In 2015, it was at around 71%. 2016 is 75%. 2017 is 76%. 2018, 73% went back to the farmer. You can see now this period of 2019, 2020, and 2021 is what got drastically down from 67, 66, 67. And that's where now the statistics were showing us that we are not doing well. This year, the aggregate I've seen in the last 9 months is coming back to 74%. And our projection is we can increase the efficiency and we can beat the record that we are able to attain. The following price for the last 3 years saw the average returns of the farmer going down to 67%. So it's a real tea business for the small-scale farmer, and that's a factory. And we're also saying that we need a lot of education of our farmers, and I think these are a group of farmers and supporting that we usually do, including the youth, educating our children. There's a farmer plucking the tea. This is one of our stores in Mombasa, where we keep our tea. We are also doing conservation. And we are also doing plucking the old trees. There are trees that started off, which are over 50 years old, and we are removing them and trying to plant the new clones, which can produce faster and quickly. That's a part of the replacement that we are doing in some of the farms. That's where one of the farmer, and we are able to support them in terms of, you can see that's a KTDA tanks donation, and we will be requesting our partners, if you have something to donate to our farmers, you can always support through our KTDA Foundation. That's another class of a group of people being trained on various forms of livelihood and various use of various appliance cooking gas for this for biogas program. We have that's also training on biogas. These are some of our farmers being trained on various plantation and seedlings, including some plantation of trees. We are also encouraging the various diversification in terms of keeping livestock. You can be able to borrow from a sector and then come buy cows, and you're able to continue with the same. We also having some tree plantation, tree lots, so that which can be used to the factories when we need for the firing of our tea. These are form of training. Also training farmers being trained there, pruning, and even tea plucking. We needed to do some intervention because of those things that we have already mentioned above there, in terms of the challenges that we are facing. That's where we brought in the aspect of reserve price, which is we felt that tea farming might not be economically viable, and that's the reason why we had to retain this reserve price, which you call floor pricing. With that, we can be able to, with 2.43, we can be able to sustain farmer in production and encourage them to be able to do more. We also diversify our products, especially the orthodox and other specialty tea. This now is, we have about 10 factories which are now producing the orthodox tea, which produce about 10%. The other 90% is the CTC tea. They are also trying to use renewable energy, like I had showed a little bit there, like using the small hydros power. We are going into mechanization, especially in pruning. We also want to introduce it to our farmers for the small machines, which can produce, can do the pruning at, and if you are able to do that, a cost of plucking 1 kilo is around 10 to 12 shillings. So if you're able to bring the machines, you can lower that by 50%. And then the other balance can be able to go back to the farmer. We want to be environmentally sustainable, and our teas offer the ecological sustainable environment in terms of environmental conservation. One of our partners, the Nyayo Tizo, they had planted tea across the belt of tea to protect our forest. So we hope the United Nations can give us the carbon credit based on our contribution in terms of that. The long-term partnership is important with government. In this business, as you have also realized, you can't work without working closely with government, because you are mutually share the concern, the issues which keep on emerging, the volatility of the dollars, the conflict we have within the region. Like now we have conflict in Russia and Ukraine, where we were a bit affected. We sell about 6 billion shillings tea to Russia, and we sell 2 billion shillings tea to Ukraine. And one of our customers in Ukraine, I think 2 of his warehouses were bombed. So there are those conflict. This is not the only conflict. The other conflict in the regions, Sudan and elsewhere. And this conflict, even if you are not participating in the making the decision of the conflict, the implication is coming clearer. Like Russia-Ukraine conflict, you can see the impact in terms of increased cost of food, increased cost of energy, and various sanctions which interrupt the flow of our logistics in terms of tea across our customer. These are challenges that we have to navigate through. We have to share that responsibility so that we can be able to move to work together. Sustainable farm practice, identification, other income generating activities. We are encouraging our farmers to invest in those areas of livestock keeping, beekeeping, avocado production, and other fruits, to ensure that they can have several streams of income. KTDA will remain a robust organization that will offer service to shareholders, small-scale farmers, and ultimately to the smallholder tea. The reform agenda is aimed to ensure the small-scale farmers get fair returns from the factories and their suppliers of the green leaves and their shareholders. Farmer and KTDA model of working together significantly reduce the operating cost. Efficiency is realized through economies of scale. And this is what I had mentioned, that if you're able now to share the cost within the KTDA holding, we can share the expertise, we can share the technology together, and based on that, we can share marketing and all that, and based on that, we are able to bring costs down, to be able to reach to all farmers the income. We remain grateful to the people of Pakistan for the great role that have been played in our journey. So tea to us is significant, and I think we'll continue. We want to have a sustainable framework of operation, whereby the farmers can continue producing, and also the producers, the brokers, and all the stakeholders can be able to get value from the whole ecosystem of the business. We hope this partnership will continue and enhance even with the implementation of the Tea Act that we are undertaking, and to ensure that we continue working together. I want to thank you for listening to me.
May I request you to stay a moment, sir? I would like to request Mr. Hamid Khwaja, who is also the convener of this convention, along with Ms. Mehvish Tapal, to present a memento to Mr. Ichoho. Can we have you on stage? Thank you. Sir, we thank you for your insightful presentation.